As Hong Kong prepares to celebrate the 20th anniversary of its return to Chinese rule, we'll be looking at how the territory is reinventing itself yet again to take advantage of the new opportunities available for entrepreneurs, especially in the science and technology sector. Welcome to The Point. I'm Li Xin. Hong Kong has long been seen as a hub for business, but has yet to be seen as a hub for innovators in science and technology. But that is about to change. In 2015, the SAR government established an Innovation and Technology Bureau, and in its policy address for 2016, it laid out an increased investment in the sector, including a venture capital fund worth 2 billion Hong Kong dollars or 250 million US dollars. How will that change the picture, and how do international investors see the potential of Hong Kong in this sector? I'm happy to be joined by a special guest. He has been in the Forbes Midas list for the past 5 years as a #1 investor from China. Mr. Nan Peng, the founder and managing partner of Sequoia Capital China. Welcome to the program, Mr. Shen.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, as an entrepreneur and investor, you have lived in Hong Kong for the past 2 decades. Why is Hong Kong so attractive to you?
Well, first of all, it's a wonderful city. The living conditions and environment, educations, and healthcare, and obviously it's have the proximity to China. So you can do business in China, whether it's Beijing, Shanghai, or Shenzhen, and any of those major cities. It's a very easy 1 hour, 2 hours, or at the max maybe 3 hours of or even flight or a drive. So you can really cover China from Hong Kong very conveniently.
Talking about business, a lot of people are saying you are way ahead of everybody else. I mean, Tencent also does investment, and they say wherever they look, you have been there 1 or 2 years ahead. So looking for Hong Kong for the next 3, 5, even 10 years, where are you looking at?
Well, I hope we can be ahead of the game, but we are very excited about Hong Kong. And this is getting more so as we spend time and explore what is really Hong Kong has to offer. What we find is Hong Kong has some wonderful university and research institutions. And we obviously have not seen big companies have been created out of the startup modes. But there are many of those technologies could apply in the real world and creating some very valuable companies.
Help us understand here, why has it not been the culture of Hong Kong to nurture startups?
Indeed, we have a little bit problem in the sense, big company mentality is still a very major sort of trend, and then there are not many startup company as yet set up. And then I think there's a lack of an ecosystem, including the mentor as well as the active venture capitalists in the market. But there's some structure advantage we're seeing coming to Hong Kong. In the last 20 years, I would say there's some structure disadvantage, because if you look at the last 20, even 30 years, if you're looking at global innovations, whether it's in Silicon Valley or whether it's in Beijing or in Shanghai, many of those are talk about technology applications in the commercial internet space, whether it's the ride sharings, whether it's the auto services or e-commerce. Now, in order for those companies to be successful, you do need a big home market. Unfortunately, in Hong Kong, we don't have that. But we are getting to a new information technology stage now. It's called artificial intelligence stage. Cloud-based applications, SaaS applications. Most importantly, they are all enterprise applications. I think Hong Kong has a much better chance this time.
It's very interesting you say Hong Kong has a small local market, but Hong Kong is surrounded, right, by many advanced cities who are doing very well in the field that you just mentioned, and there is a whole mainland market that they can potentially explore. Why has this not been explored for Hong Kong?
If you're looking at commercial internet space, for example, if you talk about Tencent WeChat or Alibaba's Alipay, those applications have to do, or oftentimes to do, with cultures. In fact, there's a company in Hong Kong in startup stage back 5 years ago and still in startup stage, try to do what is Tencent's WeChat we're doing today. But they're almost in the global space doing that. But they can't really sustain its growth and its edge, because you can, creating apps which mainland Chinese users will love to use. You really need to get in very close to your users. But that's going to be different for the enterprises applications. If we talk about cloud-based applications, robotics, life science, then these has less to do with culture, and it's more to do with technology innovations. Now, Hong Kong, with some great university, with some great professors and researchers, I think there's a chance we can marry the technology with the technology team and to turn that into a real product and real company.
Is that why you set up this platform called Hong Kong X last year?
That's exactly what we try to do. And frankly, even before that, we look at one company which happened to be based in Shenzhen, DJI, the largest commercial drone company in the world. It could have been set up in Hong Kong. They actually tried very initially in Hong Kong.
He started his business while as a student in
Exactly,
Hong Kong.
at the Hong Kong Science and Tech U, but somehow the business didn't take off, and then he moved to Shenzhen and take advantage of the very advanced manufacturing facilities around Shenzhen and build a business.
And the investment? Did he get the investment he needed from the mainland as well? Or?
Well, I think it's actually coming from just a few professors who has been working with him in the university. But that company could have been just born and still headquartered in Hong Kong. There's no reason why we cannot next DJI in Hong Kong.
That's what you wanted to change.
Exactly. So Hong Kong X is really try very hard to commercialize those technology and product from the universities. We're different from any other incubators because we feel this is the edge Hong Kong have, and we want to leverage that.
How has the reception been for that platform from last July to now? How many projects have you selected and how many have you invested so far?
Very good question. I think it's actually exceeded our expectation. We actually just set up the team in place end of last year. In the last 6-7 months, we look at over 400 companies, many actually incoming emails. We spend time to explore about 100 of them. We end up actually invest, or in the process of invest, 15 about them. So that's a good number. And we have a pretty high bar. But if you look at Silicon Valley or Beijing today, that's the success rate that a venture capitalist can pick up those companies. I would say they're very much on par. But more importantly, every single one of those companies have a professor act as a mentor and has a technology to support the growth of the company. And that's exactly what we try to see.
Now, where are you looking at? What are you looking for in these proposals? You have 400 and you chose 15. Which area are you putting your money in, and how do you judge that is the right project for that area?
Again, very good question. I think if you're looking at the area we can end up invest, there are robotics. I think we all know Hong Kong's science and tech is very strong. We're looking at artificial intelligence, and there are few universities in Hong Kong probably has one of the very top AI labs in the world. And we'll talk about life science, whether it's immunology or with genetic technologies. And we have some, again, a group of professors who has been world leaders in those research areas. How we find companies and what company we to pick? First of all, we're looking for exceptional teams. A team with passion and with understanding of technology, but different from some other startup company, we're looking for a differentiated technology, an embedded technology, which has a lead against companies in the similar field, maybe by a few months, maybe by several years, but that at least something which we have a potential to become a global leader.
Where are you looking at for the next 5 or 10 years in terms of what you're doing? What do you want to see Hong Kong become in terms of scientific and technological innovation?
Well, I think we need more people to help build an ecosystem in Hong Kong. While we see this first batch of company, we feel pretty excited about it, but definitely there are more work to do because there are very few venture capital like us active in Hong Kong. So hope we can see the same dynamics happen like here in China. We call it in Chinese 双创, innovation and entrepreneurship. And if in Hong Kong, we really need different people to play in different roles in the ecosystem, including funnel funds, maybe could be sponsored by the government. You could have the mentors, the angel investors, and the venture capital like us, the overall package which could be available to a startup founder who has a dream for success.
Hong Kong has played a very important role and also had a very unique advantage as a connecting point between Chinese mainland and the outside world. Now, in terms of scientific and technological innovation, do you think Hong Kong still has that role to play?
Oh, absolutely. I think at least in few areas, Hong Kong has universities and professors who are leading the pack on a global basis. And yes, we want to leverage the very fact that we are so close to mainland cities like Shenzhen, etc. And we have a really global, advanced manufacturing facilities around Shenzhen area. So those companies in the robotics area, for example, could leverage what we already being able to available in Shenzhen and try to build a connection there. And DJI is a great example, and that many of those other IoT companies that could actually do the same thing.
A lot of people are asking the question, where is Hong Kong vis-a-vis the economy of mainland China? Because 20 years ago, Hong Kong was about 18% of Chinese economic size, or mainland's economic size, and now it's about 3%. Some people are saying it's because China has grown the mainland has grown so much that we are second biggest economy of the world. But some people are saying it's because Hong Kong has gone downhill. How do you look at that?
Well, I think we certainly have some challenges in Hong Kong, but again, there are a lot of great opportunity, and oftentimes the opportunity comes as Hong Kong, become something very close to China and leveraging what is happening in China. Give you one example: financial service market is very important for Hong Kong. Back 20 years ago or 25 years ago, when I first arrived in Hong Kong, it's about foreign exchange trading, it's about bond market. The last 20 years, things have been changed. One area has become very important: venture capital and private equity. Why that's the case? Because there's great opportunity for venture capital and private equity to invest in mainland through Hong Kong. And that's exactly the role Hong Kong has played. If you look at the most private equity firms, they're all headquarters in Hong Kong. And that is the primary capital market which has really been built in the last 20 years. And I think there are many areas which you can imagine Hong Kong has done. Another example is the offshore RMB market. Again, Hong Kong has captured the opportunity and become very important, in the whole, evolve of the whole market. And if you're looking at, for example, the Shanghai Hong Kong Connect, you look at the Shenzhen Hong Kong Connect, and those are all very important mechanism attracting, the capital flows from Hong Kong to mainland cities.
Looking at the people of Hong Kong, especially the young people of Hong Kong, have the past 20 years, and if you want to say something to them now, what would it be?
Well, I remember while I was running C-Trip, I based in Hong Kong. My secretary didn't speak Mandarin, but she went to night school to study Mandarin. I think that's a good reflection of where things stand. I think people have a much better understanding of mainland Chinese, mainland China in terms of culture, economic development, etc. And obviously, language is a very important part of it. And many people have picked up Mandarin. If you walk into a restaurant back 20, 25 years ago, I can bet you many, waiters and waitresses may not speak good Mandarin. Today, they're very well equipped with the language skills.
And if you want to say something to the Hong Kong young people now, what would it be?
Well, I think each city has its unique to offer. And Hong Kong has a lot of things that you can explore. And so if you are, a young graduate from university, have the dream, just like you have if you are in Beijing or Shanghai or New York or London. As long as if you can take advantage of what Hong Kong's best offer. For example, financial service industry still have a lot of area to grow, science and technology, and you can realize your great dream in Hong Kong.
You are the role model in many people's eyes. I mean, I don't know many other dream an investor can dream of other than being the #1 investor in the world coming from China. What is your key to success?
Well, I think probably the single most important factor is that 12 years ago, we started the business in China. We feel we are long-term long China. We have a very long-term bullish view on China. So market up and downs, but we'll always believe innovation and entrepreneurship is here to stay and going to become really, really important for China. And we have a chance for some of our portfolio companies, those companies we invest in, to really overtake their comparable companies in the US and to become global leaders. And so if there any advice, I would say long China is the most important macro strategy you should have.
Yeah, and you always say also keep learning. What are you learning now?
Well, I think the area we've been involved, especially in the venture capital areas, market changed very, very quickly. For example, 6 years ago, no one mentioned this word artificial intelligence. And the last 3 years, if you are not immerse yourself in that area, you probably will be lag behind. So you need to have the ability to adapt yourself and also have to learn and going through a learning curve fairly quickly. I think the last 12 months, for example, I get to know a lot of professors in Hong Kong and also in mainland China as well as in Silicon Valley, and get to know much better about life science and area like artificial intelligence. And that helped me to make my investment decisions.
If you can redo one thing, what will it be?
Well, I first arrived in Hong Kong back 25 years ago. I hope I can be a more entrepreneurial, back then. Though at the time I was an investment banker, but looking back, there are already a lot of opportunity around you which you can explore. It took me 5 to 6 years to figure out what's happening in mainland China, and it so happened that internet innovation wave came at the end of 1999. So I started to quit my banking career and co-founded CGTN. Look back, I would have been probably taking a bit of early steps to immerse myself in entrepreneurship. But at the end of the day, if you look at Hong Kong as a city, the last 40 and 60 years, why it has been successful is because you have a group of entrepreneurs drive the economic growth. Maybe they are in the ship industry, they are in the real estate industries, they're in the financial service industries, but they are also entrepreneurs. At that time, back then, they're the pioneers. Today, Hong Kong needs the same type of DNA. We need entrepreneurship to drive Hong Kong to the next stage. Maybe they're in different areas, but it's the same spirit who's going to make the city looking even better.
Thank you very much for sharing with us all these wonderful stories, Mr. Shen Nanpeng, the founding and managing partner of Sequoia Capital China.
Thank you.
For more discussion regarding the development of the science and technology industry in Hong Kong, I talked to Mr. Xu Cheng, or Richard Xu, CEO of SmartSense, a security monitoring image sensor design company, to understand what entrepreneurs think of doing business in Hong Kong. Richard, thank you very much for joining us today. First of all, explain to us what does your company make and why you are leading, or what you're leading, in which field are you leading in the world?
So first of all, thank you for having me here. So, as you said, our company's name is SmartSense Technology. So I just started this company 5 years ago, and it has been 5 years right now. So we from just a few employees to like 100 employees right now. So we have been very successful. So the company is making electronic chips. So basically it's an image sensor, so to transfer like the outside world into an electronic world. Just like your cell phone, there's a camera function, right? So there is a electronic sensor chips inside of it. So we're actually making that chips. So right now, those chips are basically dominated by the foreign companies like Sony and also Panasonic. So we're here, startup trying to compete with those big name companies and trying to, contribute to the economic growth in China.
Now, you were living in Hong Kong before 2004, and now you're back in the scene. Have you noticed any remarkable difference in terms of support for entrepreneurs? What has changed and what has not?
Yes, so I went to United States and Silicon Valley to work there at 2004, and I worked there for like 10 years. So after I came back at 2012, actually I can feel there's a huge difference between now and then, including Shanghai and Hong Kong. So I mean, after I come back, so the whole entrepreneurship environment is totally different right now. So the government is willing and try their best to help the new entrepreneurs like me to start up my companies. They not only give the seed fund to the company to start up their company, and also they trying to help like building up a very friendly and educational environment for the totally green entrepreneur like me to learn and to share experience with the peer friends or entrepreneurs. So let's actually save us a lot of time. So then we can be more focused on the things we're really good at, and that makes a lot of difference.
Mm-hmm. Now, I understand that it was not until 2015 that the Hong Kong government set up the Innovation and Technology Bureau. It's rather late, considering you know the emphasis that Hong Kong has been putting in scientific and technological innovation. What do you think has taken the SRI government so long to make this move, and how has this bureau impacted the entrepreneurial atmosphere in Hong Kong from your personal experience?
So to answer that question, frankly speaking, I know that the bureau has been set up recently, but I always know that Hong Kong government is always trying to steer away from its originally well known as a financial and business center in the Far East into a more diversified direction. So information and the technology is their main focus. So we're expecting to see a more open and more welcome entrepreneurships environments in Hong Kong in the near future.
Mm-hmm. Has this bureau's work affected your business activity in Hong Kong, or have you gotten any specific support and boost?
Not yet. We deeply hope that it will actually follow the same models as the other big cities in China. They already building up this whole program, but I think it takes time for the Hong Kongs to catch up with the same model as other cities in China. We need time for the people to change their mind. So from its originally thinking about this the economy or the financial business into IT and a more scientific area.
How do you think is the potential of Hong Kong to become a scientific and technological innovation hub? So yeah, that's a good question. I think Hong Kong need to realize their positions. So Hong Kong has a very unique positions in the technology and innovation development area, especially for the university and the research institute. So they have a very open academic and research environments, and also they teach students using entirely English. And the teachers there's coming from all over, like the big companies, also the very well-known universities around the world. So the students there can pick up the cutting-edge technology very quickly. And also Hong Kong is very close to Shenzhen, so, and also other southern cities. So they have very good connections with the industry in China and also the research institute in China. So that's make the people can turn their ideas into a real product very quickly. So that's the very advantage of Hong Kong compared to the other part of the world. My final question now, Premier Li Keqiang has been advocating the so-called Shuang Chuang, right? How is that policy of double innovation and entrepreneurship, how is that policy perceived in Hong Kong, and how is that going to bring closer the kind of future prospects you just mentioned to the people of Hong Kong?
I think so. Chinese government has done very good job to attracting us. Come back from from Silicon Valley, for example, back to China, start up this company. So they have done tremendous good jobs and keep us, survive and just helping us to pass the obstacles at the very first beginning of our company development. So I think it's a good indication and a good good examples, and the Hong Kong government can learn from Chinese government. So that's what we expect Hong Kong, the new bureaus of bureau can learn from Chinese government, and they can just try to be more open and be more helpful to the new entrepreneur like me to start up the company.
That was my interview with Richard Chu, CEO of SmartSense, a security monitoring image sensor design company. And here is my last point. For a very long time, one of Hong Kong's main strengths has been its ability to reinvent itself. For well over a century, it has attracted entrepreneurs and traders from across the world, and it grew rich on its internationally open and competitive environment. But time doesn't stand still, and with the rise of other regions, most specifically in Hong Kong's case, the rise of the Chinese mainland, Hong Kong's competitive advantages seemed to slip away. Now, rather than looking backwards in time and bemoaning the lost opportunities, the Hong Kong SAR government is putting its money where it is, and entrepreneurs and investors are eyeing up the new opportunities which are there for all to see. By investing in technological innovation, the Hong Kong Phoenix is set to rise even higher. And thanks for watching. As always, follow The Point on Twitter or visit our Facebook page using the handle The Point with Alex. Download the application called CGTN Live to watch our show on your mobile devices, or go to YouTube and look for CGTN The Point. Thank you for watching, and I hope you join us next time on The Point.